all business families of who will take over from whoever is in the seat now, and on what basis. Why so and so. I mean, is it only because this is my son, or is there some other basis? So it is succession planning is another very big issue, and then whatever comes along with that. Now, what I do is two things I do. One is I start with the family at whatever point they want to start. Now, this is again a very big challenge from a consulting perspective, because a consultant, like for example a doctor, has the benefit of a of perspective, and perspective is a function of distance, right? If I'm looking at my palm like this, I cannot have perspective. If I want to see the lines on my palm, I have to hold it at a certain distance from my eyes. Otherwise, I can't see the lines. If I'm like this, I can't see it. Now, people in the family business, the family members, they are like this. Whereas you as a consultant are here. So you, if you are any good at all in your work, then you almost by definition will be able to see what is happening in that family more clearly than the family members themselves.
Oh, okay.
This is a given. If you are not seeing that, then you are not good in your business. As simple as that. If you are good, then you will see it. Number one. Challenge is, first thing, you can't tell them that. They won't like it.
There'll be a lot of politics and correct, absolutely.
They will not like it. They will not accept it. It takes a certain amount of maturity for them to accept it, which almost nobody has. So I can't go to the chairman of the company. I can't go to the promoter, the owner, and say, you know what? I know your family and your issues better than you. He's not going to accept that. So you can't say that, even though you know that, even though it is true, and maybe even psychologically he hired you because he knows that in his mind, but he is not going to accept that, and you can't tell him that. So that's one thing. Second thing is that you therefore have to start where he wants you to start. So if he says, for example, if somebody calls you and says, we want you to do a comp benefit analysis for us, just go do that. Don't say, comp benefit is not your problem, something else is. No, even though something else is his problem, you just go do what he's telling you to do. Then you see how you can help him to see what you want him to see.
Fantastic.
Once you have built your trust base with them and so on and so forth.
Right? I think this is a valuable piece of advice which works across consulting, that don't do the finger pointing right away. You don't have any status credibility to do that. First, gain your own credibility, and then you be in a position to advise.
Gain your credibility, gain your, I believe me, this is one lesson I learned the hard way. I was hired, and with me was a very dear friend and colleague of mine, Rosemary Vishwanath. Rose and I were hired to do a organization diagnosis. No, actually no. We were hired to write a personnel manual, right? Personal management. Those days they didn't have the word HR. This is called personal management. So he said personnel management manual for this company. Now Rosemary and myself, we were hired for this thing. Now both of us, young. Rose is out of IIM Bangalore. So Rose and I, young and very energetic and blah blah whatnot. And this was in the 90s. I mean, this was before I went off to America and so on. So then I was in Bangalore. So we went. Now, when we went to do this work, we, as part of our design, we said we want to interview a cross section of people. The CEO was not very happy about the idea, but he agreed. Right? So we kind of convinced him and so on. So we now interviewed a whole cross section of people across, and what we discovered was not nice, because we discovered that basically it was the CEO's style. It was the top management policies which were really horrible, and they were creating all kinds of problems in the organization. So we said, look, personnel manual is nonsense. They don't need a personnel manual. They need to have training for the CEO to change his style and so on and so on. Believe me, to this day, I believe that Rosemary's and mine, our assessment was 100% correct. There was no doubt in my mind that what we had seen, and what we suggested was exactly what they needed. The mistake we made was we actually said this. So
True.
we, so we went,
I can
we,
imagine what happened next.
you can imagine what happened next, and that is what happened next.
Yeah.
So both of us were obviously very upset and very hurt and so on. Then I went to, and again, this is the other big learning for me: take feedback, go to people and ask. So I went to Arun Joshi, who I mentioned in the first interview. I went to Arun Joshi. Arun Joshi at that time was head of HR in the RPG group. Right? He was VP HR. He was director. So I went to him. I told him, Arun, please give me some advice. This is what has happened. This is what we did, and where did we go wrong? Arun Joshi said to me what I just said to you. Start with the client where the client wants you to start. Build credibility, then take the client to where you think the client should go. He said, if you don't do that, if you invert it, you will be 100% right and you will be out on your backside in 5 minutes. So,
I think this is golden piece of advice for all consultants out there, no matter which field.
No matter which field, really seriously. And I'm telling you, I learned it the hard way. I mean, this was very painful learning for me and Rose when she sees this interview, she's going to have a big laugh because she will remember this thing. I mean, it has got very good learning for us. Start with the client where the clients want you to start, then build your credibility, because when you have gone there, they don't know. This is where also books help. Now, those days I had no books.
Oh, okay.
Right? So a book will help you, because the same thing if I do today, I can afford to do that, because there is a book, there is a huge base. But those days, I mean, it was not. I mean, I was a young guy, new person. Okay, so they know zero credibility. I mean, they'll like you enough to give you a job, but that's it. Period.